welcome to today's episode of Rusty Duck Garage. Today we have a beautiful 1984 Corvette, one of only 1,196 Corvettes in 1984 painted light blue metallic. This car was repainted years ago, but still looks pretty good. I picked up this C4 Corvette from a friend of mine in a trade deal. It is equipped with the 5.7 liter Chevrolet 350 engine with a crossfire fuel injection. The C4 Corvette in 1984 had a directional wheel, and it came equipped with a 245/50 R16 tire. I was working as a mechanic at the Chevrolet dealership in McMinnville, Oregon when the 1984 Corvette came out. It was an unbelievable car, but as a mechanic with a young family, I certainly could not afford the 1984 Corvette. But I knew that someday I would own one. Corvettes like this one can be bought for less than $5,000. It's a great value in these cars. However, they do have their mechanical issues and problems, but with a little bit of time and patience, you can fix most of these things on these cars for very cheap. Cars are like ice cream to me. Baskin and Robbins, 31 flavors. Well, in cars, I want to try all 31 flavors and many more. If I could afford to buy a warehouse the size of the abandoned Walmart store in Portland, Oregon, I'd fill it full of cars just like these. Well, I can't afford that great big warehouse, so I'm not going to be able to keep this car very long. But I'm going to tell you something, I really enjoyed driving this car. A lot of fun. I think it's a lot of car for the money, the C4 Corvette. With a crossfire fuel injection, 700 R4 transmission, G80 positive traction, it's an absolute blast to drive. This car will do cookies and donuts like you cannot believe. Now the crossfire injection was not the best, but it's pretty simple if you understand it. I've worked on many of them and they're not that hard. 4-wheel disc brakes, independent rear suspension that equaled 1G on this skid pad. That was some pretty unbelievable numbers back in the day, and still very impressive today. And how about that GM HEI ignition? This engine had only 205 horsepower, but almost 300 foot-pounds of torque at 2,800 RPM. This car makes all the torque down low in the RPM range, making it very fun to drive. However, if you really put your foot in it and wind the motor up at 3,500 RPM, it's all done. It's not making any more horsepower. But with the 700 R4 transmission shifted up a gear, you got 4 gears, it'll run pretty good. It had a top speed of 140 miles per hour, which was pretty good back in the day. And this car had the performance numbers that were better than most. 25 miles per gallon in one of these cars is not unusual. And driving these cars is kind of fun. You just don't see them on the road anymore. And when you do, it's usually one that's really clapped out. But when you do see a nice C4 Corvette driving up and down the highway, it is a treat in my opinion. Cruising down the road here in the old 84 Corvette, and she's got the 350 crossfire injection with the 700 R4 trans, and she's locked into overdrive now with the converter locked up right now. And you can see our gauges there. It's got the tack that rolls up and the tack over here, speed over here that rolls up. It's got gauges up here, and you have quite a selection here where you can change which gauge you want it to display. Now, the these digital displays in these cars really weren't very good. They had a lot of issues. Now, this car, when I bought it, the cluster did quit working on me one day. And when I had the dash pad out of this car, I noticed that the headlight switch was loose in the dash. And I tightened it up, and I've not had it quit since then. So I wonder if that isn't grounded through that panel, but I really didn't see that it was, but it's no longer having that issue. Now, I did unplug it, plug it back in, so it could have been just a connection issue also. But car's awesome to drive, a lot of fun for the money, not an expensive car by any means. Yeah, these cars, really the performance on them isn't all that bad. It's like 200 some horsepower, but the torque on them is down low, very low RPM, so they come out of the hole pretty good. And the drivability is good just because of that low end torque. Now, when they get up about 3,500, 4,000 RPM, they just fall off. They just fall on their face because the intake ports are deported way down real small, so they can get more velocity for the low RPM. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you would please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and that really helps us out. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time at Rusty Duck Garage.